he's not a politician in the sense of a career politician. I've come across a lot of those in my time in politics, and what you really want to look for is somebody who's had a life, been involved in other things, has other passions that inform their service, and they're not completely driven down the lane of just being a politician, just being somebody who's chasing power. And if you look at his bio, what do you know? Well, he worked as a civil engineer for more than 15 years before becoming a member of the New York State Assembly. And more important, he served our great land in the United States Army Reserve for 8 years before being honorably discharged, and then remained involved with local veteran service organizations. The founder of the first AM Vets Post in Rotterdam, and served as the post commander from 2012 to 2015. So there are politicians, right? There are people who make it their business to chase power and serve their ego. And then there are what I call public servants, actual people who care about giving to people, actual people who care about lifting up the community, people who act from a place of integrity, with character. And that's what you have here in this gentleman. A good man. And that shouldn't be an exception to the rule. That should be the rule. So when we come across somebody who happens to be the exception, it's incumbent upon all of us to lift them up, right? To support them, to elevate them, to enable them. Because ultimately, he's just a reflection of all of you. It's a reflection of the community he represents. So really, it's about what you want in your public servants, what kind of values you want them to represent and to demonstrate. And so when you're talking about Angelo, you're talking about a first generation Italian-American assemblyman who is the epitome of the opportunity that this state and this country can provide for folks. Spent his entire life working and serving the people of Schenectady in the capital region, and raised his family in this region. Someone who understands the needs, the priorities, and the desires and hopes and wishes of his constituents. That matters. People who actually care about the community because they come from it and they are of it. He attended UAlbany, and working as a civil engineer in the community, he understands how important it is to have access to a good education and career opportunities. I can attest to that. My parents worked for GE back in the 80s and the 90s and preached the importance of education. I was a latchkey kid coming home every day, leaving my key on the counter. My parents would come home and say, this is how you're going to get ahead. Education is the great equalizer. We live that experience as native sons of Schenectady, understanding that, and having somebody who understands what it's like for working families and who are relying on quality education to elevate their lives and their children's lives, that matters. That matters. So from his time in the Schenectady County Legislature to his current service in the Assembly, you have a man who stands firm on his principles. You have a family man. I know Jennifer here with him today, his son Michael. I know Mariana was also here, not here, but in spirit. A family man. You know, as a father, I want to give a shout out. I don't know if Brody is still here. There you go, Brody. I see you. I don't know how old you are, bro. You look about 6, 7, 8, whatever. 9? See, I was hoping you weren't going to say 9 because I got a couple of twin boys that are 9 years old, and I have a hard time picturing them do what you did. So great job, Brody. But yeah, just clap it up for him. I just had a thought about this with my boys and trying to rein them in. So kudos to the parents. But seriously, when you think about a family man, you think about somebody who comes from the community, you have somebody who genuinely gets it and who cares and who loves. A lot of divisiveness out there, a lot of nastiness out of there, a lack of civility and decency out there. And it's a breath of fresh air to come across somebody who actually can, speak and look you in the eye and be genuine and be nice to you and be civil. Even if you don't agree, you can disagree in an agreeable fashion. That's the kind of service we need right now in our politics. We need that kind of service in our politics. And it's incumbent upon all of us in this room to continue to elevate that. The last thing I'm going to say is not only is he a family man, he's also somebody who's worked tirelessly to make sure those living with special needs are not left behind. This is something I know he cares deeply about with his son Michael, and making sure that he's inspired by that work and going not just focusing just on his family, but beyond his family and focusing on the community writ large. Again, finding ways to lead from the heart matters. Good heart. So we've been through a couple of tough years as a state and as a country. When you think about COVID and all the isolation, the separation, we're trying to turn the corner. But as we do, it is incumbent that we have elected officials who know how to bring folks together again. It is. It is incumbent that we have elected officials who don't make it their business to rip us apart at the seams just for their own gain. It is incumbent that we get behind individuals who really care and who seek to find common ground and do the work on behalf of everyone, who listen first before they speak and look you in the eyes from the heart. That's what we need. And that's what we have in our assemblyman here. So I have no doubt that together we will be working together to deliver real results for our hometown, and certainly the district and the state at large. I'm incredibly proud, very proud, that our hometown and the community that we share a concerted love for is so represented by a genuine public servant. And it is now my absolute privilege and honor to welcome up Jennifer and Michael as we swear in Assemblyman Santabarbara.